going on, everybody? It is George here from NVISION, hosting another episode of Brews and Buzzwords. The very special guest today, somebody I've known for, probably 30 years, if not longer now, and someone who's given me some great advice that I think will resonate with this audience, and it should resonate with this audience. Matt Derosa from MJD Ultimate Sports Training, who him and I go back a number of years, as I said, is here with me today. So Matt, thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure.
Finally.
Yeah.
I know we talked about this a long time. Yeah. So Matt and I go back to high school, playing football together, rugby.
No, I played 1 year football.
1 year?
Yeah.
Okay. So did you play rugby? No rugby.
Too violent for me. Yeah.
Too violent. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Matt. Matt actually ended up pursuing a career in professional wrestling, as well as a soap opera star. And he did how many episodes?
39.
39 episodes of what show?
Well, the second version of Ugly Betty. So it was in Mexico. So it's called La Fea Mas Bella.
La Fea Mas Bella. So with that said, Matt, thanks for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I'll start back at like 13 years old when my mom put me into the gym for disciplinary reasons, just to keep me busy and stuff like that. And, basically just kind of fell in love with it and then helped me a lot. Then pursued the career in pro wrestling. So the gym obviously helped with that. I'd spend hours telling you that journey, but long story short, I ended up in Mexico for 7 years. Got to travel pretty much, I'd say 80% of the world doing that. And then came a point where it was enough for me and I wanted to pursue something else and got into personal training. And then during my personal training career, got into nutrition.
Awesome. So part of the reason why I wanted to have Matt on the show here today was because of the industry that we're in, and we're very sedentary. Yeah. So we're sitting on our ass all day in front of a computer. Oftentimes, that leads to a lot of long-term health issues. So having played sports all my life, fortunate enough to be part of a gym, when you and I started to re-engage after a number of years of not really connecting, you had mentioned that you're now back in training and in particular training young adults.
Yeah.
And one of them happened to be my kid at a point in time in his life where he wanted to start pursuing exercise. So what led you to kind of focus your attention on these up and comers? Like my son was, I believe 15 or 16 at the time when he started with you, and it transformed. I can say this quite authentically and honestly. I think it transformed his life and the direction. Yeah. And I hold you to high regard there. So what led you to kind of pursue that?
Personal experience, like what it did for me.
Yeah.
Like even my mom was happy. My grades got better. I got more disciplined. So initially when I first, knew like the wrestling thing was pretty much ending for me, I just felt like I wanted something else. There was a lot of routes like in fitness that you can choose. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to do something kind of like, in a sense, sounds a little cheesy, but it was the truth, just like giving back. So I just thought to myself, there wasn't a lot of personal trainers when I was 13 years old. So if I could work with kids, especially like young athletes to start, I could kind of give them like the mental side of things that I went through being an athlete, and then also learning from my mistakes. So, I injured myself because I was basically learning from magazines back then. Just doing it. Yeah. So I just thought, I think this would be like optimal out of anyone to choose to work with would be like kids, and I could kind of give them a head start. And like, once they learn things properly, because working out like strength training is a skill. Mm-hmm. So basically just wanted to guide my attention towards like youth. And then the way life works is society dictates who my clients become.
For sure.
So things have changed. It's been, trying to think how long I've been there now, 11 years. And I've trained from 12-year-olds. I won't do younger than 12, but from 12, to 70-year-olds, male, female. I've worked with, I've had 3 or 4 special needs clients. So yeah, my clients basically, they've rotated, like different sexes, ages, everything. Yeah. And everyone's got the same goal.
to get healthy.
To get healthy. Another thing too is like I appreciate when people say they want to learn.
Yeah.
Because most people in fitness facilities these days, they just assume they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, like, so that can come with injury and things that'll affect you later in life.
Well, you know, having firsthand seen your facilities, which I love, because you pay so much attention to detail. Whereas when you, not to dismiss the value of going to a big gym, because there's great value there, but I think oftentimes as somebody who's young and impressionable, you go to these gyms and you see these guys who have years of experience of working out, and you try to emulate them, only to lead you to some form of injury, you know?
For sure,
which could kind of go last your entire life.
Yeah, oh, that happened to me. Like 14 years old, I saw this, you know, big, huge guy, you know, like doing shoulder press behind the neck. So I thought that's what I have to do to be big like him, and tore my rotator cuff, supraspinatus, and I got hurt more from errors like training than I have like during my wrestling career.
No way.
Yeah. So, you know, it still bothers me to this day. I mean, tendonitis, bursitis, arthritis. I got all the itis, all that I dealt from a mistake I made at 14, 15 years old.
So I think that's a neat segue, because I really want, for the purposes of our audience and in conversation today, obviously going back to this whole sedentary life that not just us here, but a lot of people are at desk jobs.
Yeah.
So, you know, knowing the value and what exercise has to offer you, what are some of the things that you would suggest to those who are in this sedentary kind of desk job day in and day out? Like, I don't think, I know, because I can feel it in my backs. After you're sitting for 8 hours a day, it gets very taxing on your joints, on your body. What sorts of things can, you know, an expert like yourself, what kind of guidance or few pointers that you can share?
So it's funny because the last, I'd say, year and a half, 2 years since the whole work from home thing became huge, this is the influx of people that new clients that I've received is people who work from home, and they all have the same issues. Like, doesn't matter the age, like they all have the same issues: tight hamstrings, tight necks, you know, poor posture, but not, you know, I'm not one to talk, but at least I got some muscle to keep me back, you know, like, but they're all rolled forward, neck issues. So what I like to tell everybody is there's, like, think of things like degrees. So like sitting down is the worst. Standing up is better than sitting down. Walking is better than standing up. And then brisk walking is, you know, better than just walking. Right. So if you're sitting for, like, you know, you're sitting for too long, I tell people, set your alarm, like on your phones, because everyone has their phones, 10 to every hour as a reminder to just stand. Because you can do your work standing as much as sitting. It's great. And then, you know, then there's other little things that I tell people to do where it's just like, if you have to go to the bathroom while you're at work, take the long way. You know, like, you don't have to like break a sweat, like just move. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's like everything's individual because everyone has different, you know, situations at work or at home. Yeah. But the more you move, you know, it's almost like lubrication in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what that does is, one of the things that we kind of preach here is creating good habits. Yeah. So you can start off by your alarm telling you every hour to stand up at 10. At some point, it's going to just become a natural habit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Create, right?
Yeah. Like, even I tell people, like, the big thing, like, for everyone now, I mean, it's like, say, like, I got to lose weight, right? Or I got to lose fat. So I tell people, like, create those habits at home as well. Like, stop using the dishwasher, use your hands. Like, those little things, they all add up. Right. You know, and like, so at the end of the day, like, when you look at it, like, I did this for myself. So I basically did a day where I said, I'm not going to do any exercise, not going to walk, not going to do anything. I want to see how many, like, steps I take just being like a regular person, like all you guys. So, you know, and it was like 4,200. And I'm like, I think that's poor. Yeah. Like, so I just kind of, like, for myself, like, okay, so between each client, I'm going to walk around the building, you know, like, while they're changing and the experienced ones are stretching, I'm going to just walk around the building once, and it'll add, you know, 500 steps. So if I'm there for 5 hours, that's an extra 2,500. Then when I'm exercising, you know, like, so in my days, like, for me, because it works for my life, like, this is a very individual thing, I'll get like between 10 and 14,000 steps, but not necessarily sweating for all of them.
And what's
Just
the
a
goal?
mental
Is about, they say about 10,000 steps, right?
I don't believe in that. So what I like to do is like, when I first meet someone or work with them, I say like, how many steps do you take now? And if they say 3,000, I say, hey, let's try and get 3,750.
Okay.
And then like, you know, after 2 weeks of doing that and it's not a big thing in their life, you know, like then it's like, okay, let's go 4,500.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just take it from there. Like
And gradually increase and don't strain yourself out to hit this massive milestone.
And then you can even look at things like weekly, you know, or it's just like, hey, you had a crazy day and, you know, you had a lot of work or whatever it was. So you're really sedentary one day. And it's like, okay, you can make it up over the next 6, you know, but the whole thing is just not to overwhelm. Like that's what I think my whole strategy was like, I'll be honest, if I have the option to work out or watch TV, I'd rather watch TV. Like, you know, like, so, yeah. So, you know, and that's the way it was my whole life. It was just like, you know, I guess I'm lazy fat kid at heart, you know, like, so at the end of the day, it's just like, okay, let's take your situation, your lifestyle, see how you are. And then let me just add in these little suggestions. Yeah. And then, you know, like see where it takes you. And it's easy. It's doable. Like, it's just a matter of not getting overwhelmed.
Yeah. And I love that approach because it really falls into like, you're creating some discipline for yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Which is really healthy. Mm-hmm. And then as you gradually realize that you can achieve 3,750 from 3,000.
Yeah.
You set the next goal.
Yeah.
Let's go to 4,500 and so on. Right. Where it just becomes more achievable. You're not being so hard on yourself on times where you can't like make that goal happen.
I don't know if you remember, but remember when Logan came in and I'm like, okay, your job is to start taking the trash out for your parents, start clearing off the table.
Yeah, he still hasn't done
He hasn't done that. No, I get it. But like, you know, at the end of the day, it's like those little things. Yeah, those little things, they add up.
Yeah,
you know,
they really do.
Yeah.
And to your point, like here in the office, I do make it a point every day. Like I'll go walk around the building a few times a day. I mean, I go to the gym and stuff too, but I just like the mental clarity that gives me as well. The disconnect from sitting in front of a brightly lit screen, right?
Like it's not only good for calories or however you want to look at it, it's just good for you. Like, I mean, just getting the sun on you, decompressing, some fresh air. Like, I do an hour a day. Like, and it's hard. Like, I feel guilty almost when I don't, not for any other reason, because I could care less anymore about my physical appearance. Like it's just about how it makes me feel. Like every morning I get up, you know, walk, you know, and like obviously weather permitting, but you know, like you can walk around the house, you can do anything, like realistic, like, and it's not a skill. Like running is a skill, you know, working out is a skill. Walking is for everybody.
We're fortunate that
your feet work. Yeah. You know, like,
yeah. So are there like any platforms or like, I know there's Fitbit and Apple Watch now can track. Are there things like that you kind of gravitate to, or you're just like, just do it? Because you got to track it, right? Like to some extent, just yes or no?
Yeah, I'm like, for myself personally, it's just like, I've been like from wrestling, it's like, you have a lot of downtime. Like you're just like traveling, but you're working for like 10 minutes. You know, like, so I was always like anal with things like journals and stuff like that. So it'd just be like, oh, okay, I did this workout today and this, that. So for me, when the Fitbit thing came out, like I bought it. I just try not to get too overly attached to it. Cause I mean, a lot of it is like fake. Like you can wave your arm a lot and then they'll get you steps. Yeah. But like just for generalization, you know what?
Put it on your dog's leg.
Send them outside.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, it's for you. So there's like no cheating. Like
I've
never like in a sense, like been upset or like disciplined the client or something. If, you know, like they came in and said like, oh, you know, this week I didn't do nothing. It's like, okay, cool. We got 51 more in the year, you know, like, so it's going to happen. Like, so that's where I think a lot of my clients appreciate me and they don't know what to expect when they're first coming in. And I'll be honest, I don't know what their experiences are with like people in the fitness industry. But my whole thing is just like, first time ever, you got to come in, we got to talk. I want to make sure I'm for you and you're for me as well.
Right.
And then it's just like, we're just going to try and make like this working out thing fit into your life without like overwhelming you or having you like change too much. Mm-hmm. And I think people appreciate that. And then like something, it's going to sound a little cheesy, but the rewarding thing for me is like when I see it happen organically, when I'm like, so how many steps did you get like the last few days? Like 14,000, 18,000. I'm like, whoa, scale it back. Yeah. Because my whole fear is like, if you go too gung-ho at the beginning, you could burn out from it. So let's just see like what's realistic for your life.
Sure.
Like if you eat 3 times a day, go for a 10-minute walk after each meal. You know, like I'm not telling you to wake up at 5 a.m. and eat earlier. It's 10 minutes. That doesn't mean you have to go outside. That could just mean like, you know, walking up the stairs of your house, like whatever the case is, like you can do it. So everything's based upon like the individual, not me, and like structure.
Right. But incorporating like some exercise or fitness into a daily routine, whether it be walking or whatever, gym, like all of those. Do you find like if you were to give like advice for some sort of a routine for a professional?
So this is what I tell everybody.
Yeah.
I said like optimal, like somewhat lifestyle would be 2 days a week strength training. And I find that the most important because I mean, there's a lot of literature out there. Like, I don't want to like misquote something, but like there's things that I hear that are just crazy when it's like people in their mid to late 60s die from a fall because like their musculature just couldn't handle their fall.
Right.
And another thing too is like why strength training is important is, you know, tell me about a guy who's been doing marathons or like jogging every day who doesn't have hip, knee, or back issues. And it's like if he incorporated a little bit of strength training, he wouldn't have those injuries. So it really is like a longevity drug in a sense, where it's like strength training. But this is where I say like what an optimal week would look like. You don't have to go do strength training 5 days a week. So I tell people is optimal 2 days a week strength training.
Like weightlifting is strength. What you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but training, not workouts. Because workouts don't get you anywhere. You want to progress. So that's what training is.
Okay.
So 2 days a week you do that. Then every day you walk because, you know, like, so there's literature out there that says 200 minutes of zone 2 cardio, which would be walking, like me and you walking and talking right now.
Right.
That would be considered zone 2. So nothing strenuous. You don't have to really sweat. You do that 200 minutes a week. So you figure 30 minutes a day or whatever, 27 minutes a day for 7 days a week. So that's where it comes into like 3 meals a day, walk for 10 minutes after each meal. You conquered that. Right. So that's part of your week. I like to tell people is like 1 day a week, do something that's going to elevate your heart rate. Now, this is like very personal because it depends like your fitness level and stuff like that, but it could be like increasing your heart rate for 2 minutes. So it doesn't have to be sprinting, but I'll give you an example with the clients I have. So I have majority of my clients I only see twice a week, and I don't want to see them more because I just tell people it's like 90, like go aim for 90 to 100 workouts a year.
Okay.
You know, like it's doable for everybody. Then when it comes to this extra thing that I'm going to ask people to do, like say raising your heart rate or just doing like another day of like a little more strenuous cardio.
Yeah.
It can be at your choice. So that can be like I have clients who one does lane swim. So they go to like the public pool once a week and they do a lane swim at their pace, but they're, you know, increasing their heart rate doing that. I have clients that join a boot camp. So they go once a week to boot camp because they just want the instruction. I have a client that goes to Orange Theory, does that style workout once a week. You know, it could be anything. Then like some of the younger ones, like say they have like a bike and I'll just tell them like, okay, like ride your bike really hard for like 20 seconds and then just let it go, you know, for 40 seconds or a minute or 2 minutes, whatever it is. Like it's very individual, but those kind of things. So if you look at your week, you're moving every day, then you got your strength training twice a week, and then you have, you know, your extra thing. So I even have like a client who does Pilates. So like anything, just something extra that's going to benefit you. So Pilates is great for stretching. You know, when the movements are new, it is going to elevate your heart rate a little bit more. So an optimal week would look like that. So in reality, you're going to maybe invest, I don't know, what, like 120 minutes a week, and you can get there aside from the walking stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've certainly kind of gone down your path of some of the things that we've spoken about historically, where, you know, we do I love walking because it helps with me with mental clarity. You know, just getting some fresh air.
That's what I use it for.
Yeah, it just allows me an opportunity to think. And I have seen improvements in my physical health just from the walking side of things, which is amazing to me on how simple that suggestion is just walk. Like if you can do nothing but walk, it's low impact, and it's great for mental clarity, physical well-being, and all those sorts of things. So, touching on, mental health and productivity, obviously, improving your physical health has a direct correlation. You kind of touched on it earlier when you were like, the days that I don't work out, you kind of feel it, right? Like you feel like...
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that's individual for different people.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, for me, it's just kind of a thing where I feel like I've been programmed for 30 years where it's like, work out and then...
It's in your routine.
Yeah. Like even like as an athlete, it's like, you're doing it for a purpose. Like I'll give you an example. The first year when I said enough with wrestling, I just told me I'm not going to work out anymore. I want to eat pizza and donuts and watch Hockey Night in Canada. And that could only last for like 3-4 months because it's not about the way you look. It's about how you feel.
Yeah.
So like that's another big thing, like predictor, is I tell people is just like, because everyone has the questions like, when am I going to see and I said, well, when you start to feel good, you'll start to look good.
Yeah.
And it's the only kind of general rule of thumb because everyone's individual. Right.
Yeah.
So, but it's true. Like, how many people like look great but feel horrible?
Well, this is the dilemma that we face, and I think a lot of younger people face, including my kids, is you're on your device, and if you're interested in the health and fitness world, you're seeing these professional athletes who are absolutely jacked and ripped, and you're trying to emulate and be like them, and it's like different body type, different routines, different genetic, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like aspire to be the best of who you can be.
Yeah.
Right.
But another thing too, along those lines, is like everything's rapid now. So then you expect like your results to be rapid.
Yeah.
Like anything that comes fast goes fast. So like that's a big thing for me. Like I won't take extreme people and I don't do extreme things. Like if someone comes to me like, I got to lose 30 pounds in 10 weeks because I'm going here. And it's like, I'm not your guy.
Yeah.
Because you can do it, but like, I don't know, what cost, like, so I'm more particular on like, let's look at the big picture, like not just now.
Yeah. So no Ozempic.
I'm not a fan, like it's just, I don't know.
I know. It's got so much
work. Yeah.
Press lately. It's just insane. Yeah. In terms of like, kind of an intersection between, do you see technology being like an intersection between people's health and like being able to like, I kind of see with like the Fitbits and like, but do you see this evolving further, like machinery getting better or?
I don't know, like they're all metrics, right? Like I remember like training, like I had my training journal, and it was just like, and I'm the most low tech person like you'll ever meet, but like, I don't know, like I like, for instance, when I look at my Fitbit stuff and it's like, even if this isn't 100% accurate, it's still like a metric of like telling me like, oh, my resting heart rate's going down or going up. Like, well, okay. If it says it's 59, maybe it's 61 or it's 56, but who cares? It's just like you're looking at the going up and down. So I don't know. Like those are just, like I said, like those are like luxury items in a sense. Like they're not like,
they're vanity numbers.
If you feel like crap and your Fitbit tells you you're awesome, it's like,
like, which one are you going to listen?
Yeah. Right. So I don't know. I don't know how technology would play into it. I mean, like maybe for structure, but when it comes to like strength training, especially like you dictate things that how you feel. Like you can't, like if someone shows me their whatever and says, well, like look at this, and it's like, okay, but how do you feel? Like
that's the simplest thing, right? Is like, how do you feel? Well, I feel like shit, or I feel great.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's what's so great to me about like this whole like working out and training and fitness and stuff like that. It's just like you get some weights, you get some machines, you're in a room.
Yeah.
When you walk, like technology is great because you're not so bored. So you can listen to music, a podcast.
Yeah.
This podcast.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do all that, like, but in terms of, you're going to, I listen to like what people have to say. I don't really care about the metrics.
Yeah. That's such a, it's so profound. Like it's such a simple statement, but it's so real.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, hey, how do you feel?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, that is telling in and of itself.
You'd be shocked as to how many 20 to 30 year olds don't know how to answer that question.
Yeah.
And like, I'll tell them like, just like another thing too, it's for me at least, it's hard to like, how do I tell someone what pain is and what soreness is? Like, I don't feel what you feel.
Right.
You know, like, so it's getting
Different
around
measure
things.
for each of us.
Yeah. And some of them ask me some like awesome questions, like, how do I know when it's my last rep? And I'm like, And I'm like, okay, like when you can barely complete it. But I mean, like and they're like, no, but how am I supposed to feel? And it's like, yeah, how do you put that into words?
Yeah.
You know, like, and then once they get it, I'm like, remember you asked me? And I'm like, that's it. You know, and they're like, okay, got it. So that's, I guess, one thing for me, it's good. The one thing left about like training and stuff like that is like the human element is still the most important element.
Yeah, I love that. It's so foundationally so sensible. Like it's such a simple premise, but it makes sense, right? Like, hey, my shoulder hurts today. Okay, well, mine doesn't.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, mine's good. Like, I'm going to lift, and maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should do something else, but...
That's another great bonus about being a former pro wrestler and stuff like that is, like, I have all the injuries, so it's like... I'm showing people things like that I've done at rehab and probably saving them thousands of dollars, like going to like therapies and stuff. So, yeah,
you've experienced.
I've been through it.
I know you've told me the stories, and they're amazing. And obviously, you're very much like this is your fitness journey. Like you are very invested in it. That's why I love talking to you about this stuff because you have so much knowledge. And when I saw you passing that knowledge on to that next generation, which was my kid, and through osmosis, I'm kind of like taking in the stuff you're saying. And then I started applying it. I'm like, man, it really doesn't take a lot. And I think that's what the audience needs to understand. It's like, you got to gauge your body and what it's capable of, depending on your age and all kinds of factors. But the simplest things like just walking or just don't wash your dishes. Don't put them in a dishwasher. I mean, we've applied that in our household and it's tremendously impacted.
Well, those are all things that like, they call it NEAT, like non-exercise, like thermogenesis or whatever. It's like, you're going to burn some calories, you're going to move a little bit more, blood's going to flow a little bit better. Like you just feel better, right? Like that's the important thing.
And there's a sense of gratification that you got it done.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
That you did it.
For sure. So, that's my whole thing is like, and I don't mean to knock people who have kinesiology degrees or all these masters, but it's like, okay, great. Like I've been driving the bus, you know, like just because, you know, the fancy words, it's like, you're not going to get fancy words from me. Like I'm just going to talk to you like a normal human.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is just like, when it comes to strength training, you need the experience. You know, like I'll give you a quick example. I fell in love with sprinting. Like while I was wrestling, it was just a great cardio and I'm sprinting down the hallway of hotels. Like, and then I realized,
I would hate to see you come sprinting at me if I came out of my hotel room.
Especially then. So, but the whole thing was like, I was like, something doesn't feel right. So I was like, when I get some time to myself, I got to hire a sprinting coach. And I did. And it's just like, you know, I think working out from so young and getting injured and then realizing like there's so much to learn. It's like anything that's a skill, you need to be taught. You can't just, let me try this on my own because then you get hurt. And no one wants to get hurt. And that's my whole philosophy, like as Logan told you. For the young people, sometimes it's difficult, especially when they're on their social media and seeing all these crazy exercises. It's like, I'm very risk versus reward based.
Right.
So if I can get your legs stronger and toned or whatever your goal is, without putting a bar on your back, that's the way I go.
Right.
You know?
So with all that, I guess the last thing I will ask, if you could share, like, what is one thing? Like we're assuming somebody's at an office all day like ours or at their own desk. What's one thing you could say that to do? And I know you've shared a lot of little bits of advice and things to be done. Like what's the one thing you would say, if there's one thing you could do, it should be this?
Okay, so because I've been seeing this huge influx in office folks like the last year and a half, 2 years coming to me and like working with them and like the challenges some of it is, my one piece of advice, I can give you like three, but the one would be understand you're an individual.
Yep.
So you're not like everyone else, you're you. And strength train.
Okay.
Because it will alleviate probably like 100, well, I don't want to say 100%, but like 95% of your ailments, knocks, like everything that's kind of holding you back from feeling great. You're an individual and learn how to do that for you. And
so, okay, I want to add to that. I want to finish on that thought because I love strength training. I've been doing it a long time. What are some things that people can do strength? Like, do they need to go get an entire bench and weights and like or is it find a local your local YMCA.
Okay, so I'm gonna just say from the beginning, like anything else you've ever done in your life, like, you know, get help first. Like number one, like
Get some direction.
learn, and then it's up to you. And that's why I say the individualization comes in. Like I'm going to use Logan as an example.
Okay.
He's at the age where all his buddies are going to the gym and stuff like that. He wants to go there. So it's like, okay, Logan, you go over there. But I also have clients that when they're ready to go on their own, for as little as $400, bought some dumbbells, you know, like stuff like that, and just things you can carry on. So that's where the individualization comes in. But the whole thing is like, number one, learn how to strength train, because it's going to save you. Like most people say, I don't care about when I'm older, but that time will come quick.
Yeah.
So learn to strength train. The things you learn from strength training, apply them like day to day. You know, like, so if you learn to stretch properly, do that. And then, like I said earlier, like attach to that. So that's why it's hard to say one thing, but that would be the biggest piece of advice I'd give everyone is to start to strength train. Don't overdo it, but then, like, you know, move more. So strength train, move more. Like that's basically what your life should be. And then there's a whole other rabbit hole to jump into nutritionally. But I mean, like, basically it's, you know, strength train, move more. It's not sexy. You know, like there's not much to sell.
Right.
You know, it's basically learn how to lift weights properly, say 2 days a week. I'm not a huge science person, but it does make sense because it's all individual. But science shows, you know, 10 to 20 sets per week per body part, the body group, is going to like help promote muscle growth, or at least prevent sarcopenia, which is muscle wasting, which is bad.
And that happens as we get older, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, you know, it can start as early for some people as like 35. So basically, yeah, you want to just make sure you're maintaining at the very least. So if the science says you can do it between 10 to 20 sets, your nervous system will let you do it in 1 day. So that's why I like to tell people at least 2 days a week, and then move more. If you're over the age of 65 and you never worked out before, you're probably not going to start now. So the little things I tell people is like, you know, sit and stand in your chair often. It's almost like semi-squats, you know, like little things like that. Carry stuff around, you know, carry your groceries. Yeah. Little things like that.
Which are achievable.
Like I said, unfortunately, there's nothing sexy to sell here. Yeah. It's just like very basic, hard work.
Putting in the work.
You know, like it doesn't have to be that hard. Just work.
Yeah. Yeah. That is great advice. It's just, you do the work, and the payoff is longevity.
Yeah.
And less
quality of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to live to 100 and hate 30 years of your life.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you. Appreciate you
for having
popping in here and having this conversation with us. Why don't you tell everybody, how can they find you if you want to be found?
MJD Ultimate Sport Training. That's where you'll find me, or Matt Derosa. Just go put that in the Google. That's basically where you could find me. No social media, not for me. Yeah, like
it's not his thing.
No,
but anyways, I want to thank you. Great sound advice. You know, some strength training, walk, wash your own dishes, carry your own bags in. You know, those things do add up. So
stand if you're sitting too long.
Stand, just move.
Yeah, that's it.
It's awesome advice. Thank you. I'm sure our audience will appreciate some of these little tips and tricks, because we are sitting all day and you start to feel the aches and pains. So thanks for dialing in. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. You can find this podcast on all the major broadcasts. So appreciate it. Until next time, see ya. Thanks for watching this video. If you got something out of it, please like, subscribe, or share it with your friends.